The episode begins immediately after the dance, the atmosphere somewhat awkward and tense. Jack Thornton, the Royal Canadian Mountie, pulls Elizabeth Thatcher aside for a private conversation. He has just received information from the Central Union Mine and asserts that Billy Hamilton, the man Elizabeth seems to have taken a liking to, has lied about his previous employment. Jack worries Billy is not who Elizabeth thinks he is, possibly a con man or worse. Elizabeth, feeling that Jack doubts her judgment and is interfering too deeply in her private life, becomes annoyed. She refuses Jack's protection and asks Billy to take her home, leaving Jack looking none too pleased. In another development, Carla Noonan, the pregnant woman staying at Abigail Stanton's, is not feeling well. Though only a little over 7 months along, she appears very large and seems to be on the verge of labor. This worries everyone, as a premature birth would mean a slim chance of survival for the baby. After the church service, Elizabeth faces a complaint from a parent about assigning too much homework, leaving their children no time to help with household chores. Just then, Billy Hamilton appears and offers to take Elizabeth for a carriage ride to cheer her up. Elizabeth, after consulting Abigail, agrees. Meanwhile, Adam Miller, the miner who has feelings for Mary Dunbar, Caleb's mother, is still trying to mend their relationship after the unsuccessful dance. He apologizes to Mary for everything and expresses hope that Caleb will gradually accept him. Jack visits Abigail, seemingly seeking advice. Abigail, with her characteristic insight, realizes Jack is worried about Elizabeth and advises him to use honey instead of vinegar in his approach. During their stroll, Elizabeth and Billy coincidentally encounter Jack fishing. Elizabeth speaks enthusiastically about geology and her dream of being able to read the mountains. Jack, with surprising friendliness, invites them to fish with him, which leaves Elizabeth surprised and a little suspicious of this change in him. Later, at the saloon, Adam shares his difficulties in approaching Caleb with Jack. Jack, remembering Abigail's advice, also suggests Adam try the honey approach. Jack himself tries this method when he approaches Caleb, who is fishing, but the boy remains cold and wants to be left alone. The town is facing a series of petty thefts. Jack has to go door to door reminding everyone to lock up carefully. The latest incident is the theft of Mrs. Marta Crocker's silver candlesticks. Kat Montgomery is also worried about her grandmother's heirloom brooch. Elizabeth, in an effort to help Carla, has asked her father to send her the book Dr. Crane's Recipes and Cures, hoping to find useful advice for childbirth, as the company doctor has not yet returned to town. Carla remains very anxious about a premature birth. Preparations for the miners' games are in full swing. However, the security situation is increasingly concerning with the appearance of many strangers. At the saloon, Billy Hamilton shows off his pocket watch, and Jack keenly observes that it is not an heirloom as Billy claims, raising suspicions. Billy even challenges Jack, declaring he will steal Elizabeth's heart. Elizabeth is struggling to learn to bake with Abigail in preparation for the cake auction fundraiser at the games. Abigail advises Elizabeth not to avoid Jack and admits that Jack has good qualities. Elizabeth still thinks of her and Jack as just friends and finds his erratic behavior confusing. Abigail chuckles when Elizabeth describes Jack's sweet-as-honey actions, seemingly knowing something. Jack visits Kat Montgomery in the evening and asks her to wear her grandmother's brooch to the games the next day, intending to set a trap for the thief. In her journal, Elizabeth reflects on the complexities of relationships between men and women, and wonders if misunderstandings stem from each person's own brokenness. At the miners' games, Jack tries to teach Caleb how to throw a knuckleball, another attempt to get closer to the boy. Carla, though wanting to attend, has to stay home due to her impending labor, entrusting her son Ephraim to Mrs. Blakely's care. The games officially begin with a speech by Mr. Gowan. In the egg toss game, Jack participates with Caleb. Although Caleb initially refuses, thinking the game is only for fathers and sons, Jack persuades him. However, Jack drops the egg, leaving Caleb somewhat disappointed. The cake auction is dramatic. Mrs. Florence Blakely's famous red velvet cake sells for a high price. When it's Elizabeth's cake's turn, despite its unappetizing appearance, Jack and Billy engage in a fierce bidding war, driving the price up to $3, a considerable sum. Elizabeth feels extremely embarrassed and angry at both of them, believing they are mocking her. Jack tries to explain that he is just doing his job of protecting and serving, but Elizabeth doesn't accept it. In the tug-of-war competition, Jack's team achieves a spectacular victory after a member of the opposing team has to withdraw due to an injury from an earlier arm wrestling match. However, Caleb continues to be rude to Adam Miller, which deeply saddens Mary. Caleb shouts that no one can make him like Adam and demands that Adam leave him alone. After the games, Billy escorts Elizabeth home. He confesses that he never thought about marriage until he met her and that he is willing to wait for her. Elizabeth, though somewhat moved, maintains her distance and says she's sure Abigail is brewing tea. Elizabeth continues to ponder trust in relationships and the courage it takes to give one's heart. That night, Jack's trap is sprung. They catch the thief trying to break into Cat Montgomery's house. But surprisingly, it's not Billy Hamilton but Sam, a townsman. Elizabeth is incredibly disappointed and angry to learn that Jack suspected Billy, and that she was used in his attempt to trap him. Just as things are at their most chaotic, Carla suddenly goes into real labor, her water breaks. In another development, Adam approaches Caleb and sincerely shares his own past. He never knew his father, who abandoned his mother and him when he was young. He says he understands Caleb's sense of loss and is envious that Caleb had a wonderful father. This unexpected empathy seems to touch Caleb. While Abigail and Elizabeth are helping Carla through labor, Elizabeth hears music from a music box and recalls Robert Burns' poem, "My love is like a red, red rose." Jack arrives at Abigail's house, informing them that the doctor has not yet returned. He apologizes to Elizabeth for being wrong about Billy and for hurting her, insisting that his top priority was always her safety. Later, Caleb proactively invites Adam to his house for pie, a sign that their relationship is starting to improve. Elizabeth has a private conversation with Billy. She tells him a secret that her father disowned her for her determination to become a teacher, and her family has cut off contact. She also shares her dream of traveling to the wild north or opening a mission school in the Far East. Billy appears supportive and says he would go with her, even if she is no longer wealthy. However, Elizabeth starts to notice inconsistencies in Billy's story when he knows she has two sisters, a detail she is certain she never mentioned. He also quoted a Robert Burns poem and claimed it as his own. Meanwhile, at Abigail's house, Carla has given birth, not to one, but to two babies, a boy and a girl, a double joy for the town. Elizabeth, remembering Jack's warning and Billy's suspicious behavior, decides to investigate further. She secretly sends a telegram to her sister Julie, asking her to do some digging. Jack notices something is amiss and asks Elizabeth if Billy is bothering her again. Elizabeth reassures him and says she thinks another burglary is about to happen, asking Jack to let her handle it. Elizabeth and Jack confront Billy as he is preparing to flee with a newly purchased horse. Jack exposes Billy's scheme. He is not a miner, nor a poet, but a professional con artist. Elizabeth, with her intelligence, makes Billy reveal his true colors by revealing that she knew he was lying about her family disowning her. Elizabeth receives news from Julie. Billy Hamilton had worked at her father's shipyard and was fired for theft. Around the same time the newspapers were reporting that wealthy heiress, Elizabeth Thatcher, was heading to Coal Valley. Clearly, Billy had planned to get close to Elizabeth for her family's money. In the end, Billy is arrested. The episode concludes with Elizabeth and Jack looking at Carla's newborn babies, who are as tiny as China dolls. Elizabeth admits she feels more embarrassed than wounded by Billy. Despite the recent turmoil, it seems that trust and understanding between Elizabeth and Jack are slowly being restored.